Welcome. This is All Astrology. We are talking about Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising. We are going to dip deep into the Mercury retrograde, the Mars out of bounds for you specifically, so that we can understand where our thinking is going to be affected, where we definitely will not be seeing clearly, where our perceptions and our views are going to be completely veiled over this cloud of delusion and illusions right here, right now. Let's talk about Mars going out of bounds just for a little bit, and how when it goes out of bounds, what it does. When Mars is out of bounds, it is impulsive. Mars is already where we will just keep on going, where we are very almost combative to a degree, okay? We will not back down. We're passionate. It is our desire. It's what we will fight for. And it's impulsive. It goes out of bounds. So when it hears something, it will right away want to react. You're going to want to know, where does this happen in your life? It's 25 degrees Sagittarius all the way till 10 degrees Capricorn. If you are an Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising, this energy exists in your 11th house. This is your friends, your groups, your social circles. This is also astrology. It is internet, okay? It is also anything that has to do with advancements for the future and technology, which is why I've been kind of talking about the fact that if it's in your 11th house, your electronics can be affected, because we also simultaneously have the Mercury retrograde going on. All right, so when the TV goes on the blink, don't put your foot through it, right? Don't throw your phone across the room or out the window, because it's Mars, it's impulsive. It is very reactionary. It's combative almost. It's out of bounds. So your 11th house, if you have a chart where your houses are split, you could have. So always listen for the degrees. So I am a strong believer in making sure I share those degrees, because not everybody has a chart that they're looking at that is all about the sign fits completely perfectly within the house. So it's like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. All you got to know is that between February 9th and March 3rd, put the dates down, understand you're going to be impulsive. You're going to be wanting to just respond to things quickly. You're going to probably be, argumentative and less patient, because that's what Mars is when it's very assertive. That's why it just acts without thinking. It looks without leaping, or the other way around. It leaps without looking. That is the Mars energy. So in your 11th house, that's where your Sagittarius is at. Look to see if you have 25 degrees Sag in that house. If not, it could likely be in your 12th house then, which means if it is in your 12th house, okay, that means this is behaviors of yours that you're probably not aware of. The 12th house, they call it the house of the self-undoing, because it is our subconscious. It is stuff that we are not aware of. It's our own actions and our own thoughts, the own energetic frequencies that we hold that we don't have an awareness of at all. Subconscious, all right? It is below our ability to be aware of it. It is below our vision. We can't see it, and if we did see it, we might not comprehend it. It might be confusing, because the 12th house is all about the Piscean energy and hiding things. It is about escaping. It's about, I don't want to see that. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to have to think about that, so I go there, right? That's what Pisces, that's what the 12th house is. So if it's something that you came into contact with, whether it was information or an experience, an action of some sort, you went there because it was so rough and difficult to handle, so hot, right? You went there. Whether you did it with your heart, you closed it off, with your mind, right? It's a place we go to escape. Having this Mars energy there may mean there may be a certain part of that is impulsive, that is reactionary, and this could be thoughts that you have, whether it's, because thoughts in the 12th, when it comes to Mars being there, it could also be having these thoughts in a way where Mars gets angry easily, okay? And so your wick is shorter. Now, let's put this all into perspective of your chart, all right, for Aquarians. That would mean that if you've got 25 degrees Sagittarian energy is typically optimistic and very futuristic, forward-thinking, can see the big picture, but has a very hard time seeing the details. Okay, now let's put this also in context of this month. Mercury retrograding, details. Mercury retrograding, Mercury actually entered Pisces today on the 3rd. So when Mercury goes into Pisces, the details of things are sort of covered up. You're going to forget details. This is a really good time when we're like, damn, I can't remember that. There are things like I will just have done them a few hours ago, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, what the heck? And and it's like, what is going on? It's Mercury. Now, typically this energy is the strongest when it first enters into the sign. when it just leaves, right? Because it just left Aquarian energy, okay, which was super intellectual, right? Can handle the details. Very, it was like, being connected with the mind of God, all right? But when it goes into Pisces, it's not that at all. It's the opposite. It's not thinking, it's dreaming. It's the exact opposite. So there's this transitional phase, and it makes it hard. It doesn't mean it has to stay as crazy and foggy, because Mercury won't go retrograde until the 17th of March. But recognize that when Mercury is in Neptune, Mercury slows down, all right? Mercury is very fast moving, so it doesn't like to be slow. So what does that mean? Mercury represents your thinking, so your thinking ability slows down. This makes sense, right? It literally will slow. You won't be as articulate. Your dates won't come to you as quickly as they used to. You're like, oh yeah, I remember this happened on such and such. No, that might not. You might not. The retrieval of information is slowed down. It's in the murky Neptunian waters. Mercury is air. It's all about air and moving fast and flying. That's not Neptune. Neptune's in the water and kind of just goes whatever way the current is flowing, right? Doesn't have a path or direction. It's like, let's just go where the flow, right? Let's just follow the school of fishes. That's Neptune energy. So they don't really get along. They don't get along. That doesn't have to be, like a combative thing. But when you mix it in with Mars, who is very combative, who is impatient, okay? So in other words, that means be careful to not act on information that you get during this time. That's what this means. Bottom line. So let's break this down to where this could be for you, okay? I already said that Neptune, the whole Mercury thing, it's all happening. Stuff is in your second house. Now, this is important, Aquarians, because this has to do with your money and your finances. So do not make any decisions with money or finances. Do not do anything like that when this time begins. When you are in the middle of Mercury's not retrograde yet, but recognize that I would have preferred that you made decisions as far as finances or commitments or having to sign anything before Mercury entered Pisces, all right? Last month would have been the opportune time to do stuff because Mercury was on 10 intellectually, very sharp, fast-moving, quick, articulate. Mercury was in a great placement, all right? Now it's slowed. So when we have that slowing and it's happening in your values, what you value, right? What is mine, okay? Having the clarity of what is yours, having the clarity of not only what is yours, but how much you have, right? This is like we're looking at the bank book and we're like, well, damn, I thought I had more in the bank account, right? This was a great time when we overdrafted on the account. Like that's this. And you don't want to be in that predicament. So for Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising, this happening in your second house means be careful, all right? Don't sign anything unless you have somebody around you who is very, a trusted advisor, someone who you counsel, who's, just been with you, okay? Not somebody new, not a good time. Don't start something new, all right? Not a good time at all. You're going by things that have been tried and tested and true and where trust has been developed, okay? That's what you're doing and that's the people you're relating to at this time. If you need to be doing or signing and making decisions, okay, for this month. March 9th is when Mercury retrograde ends. I know, all the way until March. Now, Mercury at that time will be in Aquarian energy. Mercury gets really sharp again because it goes back into Aquarian energy, okay? Now, on March 9th, March 10th, Mercury, what happens is Mercury slows down. Any planet before the retrograde, they slow and they come almost to a stop. When they come almost to a stop, that is when they kind of drill down and the energy becomes really strong because it's standing still. It becomes concentrated. What does that mean? That means if it's your thinking in Aquarian energy that becomes concentrated, you should have a clarity. You'll definitely see things more clearer. You'll have the information you needed because Mercury went back and got the details from Aquarius, so to speak, okay? And it is at that time when you'll see the most clear. Mercury then starts to go forward, move direct, and she goes back into the murky waters of Pisces again. So recognize she's going to slow down once she enters Pisces again. So there's a very small window of the clarity that Mercury has, all right? Mercury moves very fast when she starts moving again. So let me play around with the keyboard here real quick and let me go to the 10th of March and let me get a realistic view of Mercury's position and her speed. His speed, I say her. Okay, so March 9th, March 10th, okay? March 10th, March 11th, because it's such a small window. I thought it's funny because it's like St. Patrick's Day. Yes, before Mercury enters Pisces, and that is going to be, and when Mercury starts, yeah, Mercury's already at 0 degrees on the 17th. So I would say that from the 10th to the 16th, and I wouldn't even do it to the 16th, depends upon your level of sensitivity. I know for me, when Mercury was at the 29 degrees Aquarius, but once she left that 29 degree, like I had this great clarity on the 28th, but then after that, once she hit 29 degrees, she very much already had this Piscean energy about her. I felt the Piscean waters rushing in my thinking and in my mind. So I wouldn't recommend anything, actually, as far as thinking and making decisions. I personally, for myself, I would feel most comfortable like the 15th at the latest. If I had to do any signing of documents where I wanted to make sure I was in my right mind and I was clear and I didn't want to be relied, you know, I don't want to be so reliable on somebody else. I still want to have trusted advisors around me. But at the same time, I want to be able to feel good about what I'm doing. I wouldn't go past the 15th at all. So ideally, I would honestly, there's a very small window. If I had to pin it down, I would say March 10th to the 14th to the 13th even would be a time where Mercury is moving, where Mercury is clear, where Mercury is able to think critically and independently, and logic and rationale. That's Mercury, and that's the thinking we need. We need to really focus on bringing in as much logic and rationale as we can, because Neptune is in Pisces, all right, and that's difficult. Now, if you're Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising, it might not be so crazy and complicated, okay? But with your finances, it's going to be. I mean, I'm sorry. And if you don't think it is, you're delusional. I mean, I'm just going to say it to you because Neptune is there. Neptune is in your second house of your finances. And that's why it's been so difficult for you. And it has been for the last 7 years and probably longer, actually. I'm sorry, 9 years. Neptune's only halfway done, right? It's going to be here for a long time, more years to come. So do yourself a favor. If you're going to have to do any signing of documents, if you're going to have to do anything that's going to require decisions, okay, you want to make sure that you wait until March. I would go March 12th to the 13th, okay? So remember, this in conjunction with that out of bounds Mars helps you to understand where you might be impulsive because you wanted to go ahead and do something, okay? Because Mars is in that 11th house. If you read something online, especially online, all the sales and the offers, all the gimmicks. And it's like, oh, damn, I want to do that. And then the Mercury in the second house of your money is like, oh, you can do that. You can afford that. No, don't do it. Wait until March 10th to the 13th if you're going to make any decisions, okay? Because that is when you have a much more clear view of what you really have in the bank, what your values really are too. Is this thing that you wanted to spend money on, is it really important to you? Is it something you really value? With that, I hope that's added some clarity for the first half of this month. I will release more videos explaining the full moon thing. I'll connect below. I already did a video on that. But for you, Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Rising, that Pisces, the 20-degree Leo full moon happens in your 7th house of relationships. It's at 20 degrees Leos. So if you're not sure, just find the degree, find out if 20 degrees is in your 7th or your 8th house, but typically it will be in your 7th. So if it's in your 7th house, that's significant one-on-one relationships. That's your partnerships. That could be personal or business, okay? Personal or business. This is also the house of the law. This is the house of the public, where you meet the public, where you talk with the public. So this could be me. This could be that for me. It's where you counsel people or where you hire people to counsel you. That is the 7th house stuff. It's where we have to compromise, all right? If it's in your 8th, then that means the full moon would be happening in the house of shared resources, how I share my energy with others, how we merge our energy, and money is energy. Keep that in mind. If you want more information about the Leo full moon, go watch the video. I'll attach the link below for you so that you don't have to dig for it. And Aquarius Ascendant, I hope that this has helped for February for you.